Thank you. Okay, is that better? Good. I invite you to come on in from the family room and take your seat. We're going to be starting service in just a moment. You'll have plenty of time afterwards to mull around and look at the tables. But before I begin our announcements, I want to take just a moment to honor our practitioner who will be holding the light for us today during service. The new practitioner here to Seaside from Mile High Church, Victoria Wood. Welcome. We welcome her to our Seaside practitioner family. I just want to let you know that we always have a practitioner holding high watch for us during service. And we also are here for prayer for you at any time. We have lots of Seaside practitioners. You'll know us by our green stoles that we wear. Today is Wall of Prayer, so at the end of service, we invite you all to come up for a prayer. But we also are here for private sessions or here for individual prayer following each service. You can go over to the corner where Victoria is and put your I was thinking it was Virginia, so that's why I was looking to make sure I was saying her name right. Victoria, you can put your prayer request in the prayer request chest, or you can go to the prayer chapel and receive prayer over there. What's happening at Seaside right now is it's our 25th anniversary, if you haven't heard. We're 25 years old, yes. And it is coming time to our 25th gala party that is coming up. So I want to make sure all of you know about it and all of you know that there's still some tickets left. There's about 60 tickets left, I understand. So please see the ladies at the Silver Circle table in the family room. We have Joan and Helen out there today, and they're there to serve you. We also have a commemorative gala book that's being put together, a journal. It's sort of like a yearbook, if you will, but it's a lot nicer than that. And it's a place for you to put anything that you would like to put in there. You can do an ad, you can do a special thanks, you can do whatever it is that you would like in there. And the ladies over there can help you to fill out whatever it is that you'd like to be in there. So if you want to be in the journal, today is the day to do it. They have extended the date through this week, but it is going to the printers very soon. So please be sure to see the ladies at the Circle. Also, they're looking for auction events, auction items for either the silent auction or the live auction. So if you have a timeshare that you'd like to donate for a week, or tickets to the theater or the ball game or anything like that, please again see Helen and Joan at the table. They'd love to take your information. So that's coming up, our 25th gala. Next Sunday is where we're kind of bringing in the end of summer with Jamie Lula, who will be here for both services, our wonderful singer Jamie Lula, but we also will be having a concert in the garden following second service and a barbecue, so stay for that, please, or come back if you come to first service and play with us at after service. Choir is gearing up for the holidays. Can you believe it? So Reverend Fran is holding auditions September 11th. It's time to come on out if you're interested in the choir, meet with Reverend Fran, and get all involved with our choir there, which is growing to be a very large ministry here at Seaside. Also, Reverend Fran is the facilitator of our Cancer Thrivers group, and that is meeting this Saturday at 10:30 in the Emerson Room. So if that's something that speaks to you, please plan on coming and being part of that. This Friday evening, we're having an event here that all of the proceeds go to support a orphanage in Nepal. It is a night with relaxation, music, and Rumi. So a lot of Rumi poetry and music and relaxation. It's a $10 love offering to come in, and they also are offering for $15 homemade Persian food. So that is this Friday evening right here in the sanctuary in the family room. So come and be part of that. Fall, as you know, is big education time around the world, and it's the same at Seaside. So fall kicks off our school year, if you will. Our new classes all come out in the fall. The catalog will be out in the next week or so. But you can go to the education table and look at a preview of what classes are coming up. There's Dr. Christian's Foundation class and several others. So go on over there and put your name on if you're interested in a class. Our usher greeters are always looking for new, wonderful people to become part of their team. So if you're interested in doing ushering here at Seaside on a Sunday, please see Keith Russell or one of the ushers and let them know that you're interested in that, because they're always growing our team there. And I think, Wednesday night service. I want to mention Wednesday night service. We have Reverend Sunshine Day here on Wednesday evenings, who does our revealing service. It's a wonderful time of community and music, a little meditation and relaxation, a little quieter than our Sunday celebration. So I invite you to come and attend that. And in that spirit of all that is and all of the celebration and fun, I ask you to please stand and greet your neighbor and remain standing for the congregational song.
Please remain standing. It's time for our congregational song. This morning we're going to be singing together, We Let It Be. Yes, we do.
All right, this is called spiritual aerobics. Let's get your hands up. Man, come on. Jamaica, come on. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. All right, we let the love. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy. We let
the joy wash over
us. We let it be. We let the joy. Come on, show some joy. We let
the joy wash over
us. We let it be. Now what do we have here? We got Bob. The peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace. We let. All right, get those hands up in there. Come on, I want to see.
Wash over
us. We let it be. Now bring them down, band, just a minute. I want to have a special verse today. We let the rain wash over us. For all those folks in Northern California and East Yosemite, let's let the rain wash over us today, okay? Right. You want to do that with me?
Here we go.
All right. We let the rain wash over us. We let it be. Come on now, I want to hear you. We let the rain wash over us. We let it be. And now the grace. We let the grace wash over us. We let
Reverend Fran is back in the house. Yay, welcome home, Reverend Fran. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Catherine Economo, and it's my joy and my honor to welcome you here this morning to Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. I want to give a warm hello to everyone who's watching us on the live stream. We're glad you've joined us. We're glad everyone is in the room here. And I'll tell you, you made a good choice today. We've got a wonderful service for you. We have a powerful and divine guest. Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon is in the house with us today, who's the spiritual leader of the Centers for Spiritual Living. Big title, fabulous man. We've got Andrew Pettit with us singing today, so moving at the deepest of levels. And so I just want to welcome you here, let you know that Seaside Center here is a spiritual nexus, inspiring people to live their divinity. And so what that means is that we know who you truly are. We know that you have this individual divine spark within you, and that we recognize that and see that, and it is our joy to support you in expressing that in this life. We're a spiritual community, a spiritual family, and so that means that we come together here to celebrate this divine adventure that is this life. And we create this safe, sacred space to come together in those moments of challenge, because we know that together we support each other in knowing the truth for one another. And so that is the divine path that we walk together. And so with that, I welcome you here. We're so honored you've joined us. And to begin our service, I'll invite our practitioner forward to begin us with prayer.
Please join me in a period, a moment of quiet. In this stillness, I know that God, Spirit, is in this very room, flowing in, around, and through me, flowing in, around, and through everyone here today. That stillness brings us peace and a celebration. And I know the words spoken by Reverend Economo and Dr. Ken Gordon are God's words. They're flowing through them from the source. And I know the music being produced by Reverend Fran and the talented musicians and Andrew Pettit comes from Spirit. And I let it be, and so it is.
Así será. Y para siempre será. Venimos a vivir, venimos para amar, y así continuaremos. Así será. forever shall be. We come to live, we come to give, we come to love, and yes, we shall continue, and so it is. Así será. Oh, y para siempre será. Venimos a vivir, venimos para amar, y así continuaremos. Así será. And so it is. Así será.
Thank you, Reverend Fran. That was beautiful. And I'd like to just take a moment to thank David Kennedy, our practitioner, for his meditation and his treatment today. It was beautiful. And so I'd also like to take a moment to welcome anyone who may be here for the first time. Extend a special welcome to you. We're so glad you've chosen to join us this morning. Here at Seaside, we teach and live a set of spiritual principles that lead to a greater understanding of who we are and our relationship to God, to the universe, to our life, and the pathway is one of freedom. And so we know that just by being here and participating in the spiritual community, you will find yourself. You'll find a deeper understanding of who you are and an ability to share that greater with the world. And so we're grateful you're here. I want to invite you to join us at the welcome table. We've got a welcome packet for you, and inside it's got some information about the philosophy, our spiritual principles, what we believe, and about Seaside and some of the fun things that we do here at Seaside. And it also has a gift certificate for the bookstore for one of Dr. Christian's books. And so I'll encourage you to visit with us after service in the family room at the welcome table. And just because I am the director of education and just because I have the mic, I get to remind everybody that it's back to school time and our classes are beginning. And if you have not taken our foundations class, it's time. It is absolutely time for you to step up and participate in our foundations class with Dr. Christian Sorensen. And if you have taken our foundations class, then you get to spend some time with me in the Essential Ernest Holmes class. This is one of my loves, is we take a step deeper into the philosophy of Ernest Holmes and integrate it into our life on a deeper level. And so I'll invite you to come have a chat with me about our educational offerings and visit the education table for more information. And you are in for a great treat today. We have, like I said, Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon with us, and his talk today is entitled The Path. And I have a spiritual reading from the Joyous Living Journal today. And it's entitled Societal Impression. So I'll invite you to get comfortable in your chair, take a nice deep breath. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, and just open to these words. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Imitation is suicide." It's easy to get caught up in self-evaluation of images you see outside yourself. Do I match up to these societal impressions or not? Am I as good or am I less than? Your higher self is calling to you to wake up to who you truly are. Use this lifetime to bring forth the gifts of your spirit. Embrace the invitation for joyous living by being true to yourself and letting go of the comparison. How will you spend this particular lifespan? Where are you going to be focusing your attention? On others or on expressing who you are and what you are to do? Your ancestors gave a lot in order for you to come into this world. Are you honoring their legacy by being your true self? And so breathing deeper into this space, here in this moment, connecting in that inner realm to that divine light, that divine truth that is awake and alive within each of us. I know this to be God. that essence, that presence, that creative force of life itself that is ever present in every moment, in every thought, in every word, in every experience, simply God expressing. The divine pours forth through each of us into this life. We are never alone. There's always that connection. And this essence and presence is one of divine creativity. It is one of love and of wholeness and of peace and of harmony. And I know this to be my truth. It is a truth of each of us. And we come together in this moment, in this unity of being, to affirm this gift that is this life, unfolding with every breath, with every experience, simply more God. And so on this day, I claim this day to be a day of light, to be a day of creativity and of freedom. I know that there is wholeness and there is health and there is vibrance radiating through each of us. And that anyone who is seeking simply finds that which they seek right where they are. For the divine presence of God is activated completely here and now. And so in that, there is this grace that moves and breathes and flows through our experiences, allowing life to unfold in its power and its presence. And so I claim this here and now. I celebrate it, I honor it, and I surrender this word, knowing it is so good, and God is here, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? You're looking real good. Are you looking good? You feeling good? I'm feeling good. Hey, listen, I want to thank Rebecca Jade and the people that helped out last week while I was away with my husband, Carl. And I wanted to tell you, we celebrated 3 big numbers this year within 2 months of each other. First of all, I turned 65 in July, and I thought that was a big number. I did. I really thought it was a big number. And the fact that I'm still here, and the fact that your prayers are a part of that, 65 years. And the other number that we celebrated, of course, you all know, there's 30 years of marriage, which we re-upped this last week. So we're okay. And then, Carl, another big number that we just got back from Monterey, and Carl went to Pebble Beach and shot an 81. And I thought that was the best number of all. So we were happy about that. Quick up and quick down, and then I have to tell you, I was very excited about him playing. I got to ride in the cart, and we'll tell you about it later in my blog. Okay, I think I'm starting one because it's not going to be here. I take up way too much time. Now, listen, we have Andrew Pettit with us, and you know Andrew is a school guy. He's a university-bound person, and he's been up there. I'm not sure what college, but he's transferring to UCLA. And that was a big deal because my brother went to UCLA. You know, Bruins and all that stuff. So we're supporting him by buying his CDs today so that he can go to college and continue. Is he laughing at me? He's laughing at me. I did bring him a big bag of stuff, you know, like notebooks and pencils and stuff. And then I realized he probably has an iPad, and he doesn't need that stuff. All right. And next week I'll be revealing, no, I'm just teasing. He's right behind me. There's no further ado. There's nothing more to say about this young man who's talented. He sang at the Staples Center. He has CDs. He's been singing up in Northern California and LA with all the churches up there, and we've got him again. We'll see him again in December for Christmas music. So would you please put your hands together for Mr. Andrew Pettit.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Y'all help a brother go to school, please. Go buy a CD. All right. Well, we're just going to get started. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Pick it up a little bit. What you got if you ain't got love? The kind that you just wanna give away. It's okay to open up, Go ahead and let your light shine through. I know it's hard on a rainy day. You wanna shut the whole world and let's just be left alone. Don't run out on your faith. Sometimes that mountain you've been climbing is just a grain of sand. What have you been out there searching for forever is in your hands. Oh, but when you figure out love is all that matters after all, it sure makes everything else seem so small. It's so easy to get lost inside a problem that you can't feel all the time. It's like a river that's so wide, swallows you whole. When you're sitting around thinking about what you can't change and worrying about all the wrong things, time's flying by, moving so fast. You get a minute right cause you can't get it back. Sometimes that mountain you've been climbing is just a grain of sand. What have you been out there searching for forever is in your hands. Oh, but when you figure out love is all that matters after all, it sure makes everything else seem so grain of sand. What have you been out there searching forever is in your hand. Oh, but when you figure out it's love that's all that matters after all, it sure makes everything else. It sure makes everything else seem so small. Oh.
Andrew Pettit. Love him. Thank you. And so it's my honor to introduce you to Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon. As I mentioned, Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon is the spiritual leader of the Centers for Spiritual Living. He is our first of our new organization, the first spiritual leader of the Centers for Spiritual Living. He's well known for his extraordinary vision and leadership and is considered to be a catalyst for evolution and change in every area of human development. Previously, the senior co-pastor with his beautiful wife, Reverend Dr. Deborah Gordon of the Center for Spiritual Living, Kelowna in Canada. Dr. Ken's career has included everything from the corporate to the creative, from being president and general manager of a large and innovative restaurant conglomerate in the early 1970s and 80s, to being an independent consultant, writing and implementing restaurant training and operation manuals for several major organizations. In the early 1980s, he moved to Southern California from his home in Canada to embark on another successful venture. With his educational background in political science and philosophy, it was natural for him to discover and begin pursuing religious science with Dr. Tom Costa at the then Religious Science Church of the Desert. In 1993, he and his partner of 39 years returned to their original home in Kelowna, British Columbia, and began their own spiritual community, the Kelowna Centre for Spiritual Living, which has grown to become one of Canada's leading New Thought organizations. Over the years, Dr. Ken has focused his attention on innovative and transparent models of leadership. Joining the board of directors of Religious Science International in 1999, he served as president of that organization for 5 years. Dr. Ken, he's been instrumental in every step of its transformation progress. He moves through life with 3 major ideals in mind: inclusivity, communication, and principle. Also, I've added that the truth of the matter is Dr. Ken was integral in our integration process between the 2 sides of this organization, and I shared that whenever we got to one of those moments where things would start to shake a little bit, Dr. Ken's vision and powerful, peaceful presence would just make everything be okay. We knew that everything was going to be okay simply because of the vision that he held for the integration. A well-known and well-loved speaker and teacher with a unique, humorous, and insightful style, Dr. Ken is a strong believer in spending yourself and giving back to life. And what I want to add about Dr. Ken is this. I get to say something first. Don't jump up here yet. What I want you to know about him is his powerful vision, his ability to enroll us all in it, and his massive heart. He is one of the most loving presences in our movement today, and it's my honor to welcome him to the stage.
Reverend Catherine, you're so sweet. Isn't she sweet? I'm so honored. Yes, yeah. Your 4 fans clapped when I said that. I am so incredibly honored to be here. Really, this is a milestone church, a milepost church, whatever it's called. This is a fantastic center, and the work that Dr. Christian and his staff have done needs to be applauded, and it's spectacular. And the work you do, yes. The work you do in the world needs to be applauded. It takes a lot of us to create the collective consciousness that is required in this world to make a change and to make a difference. And that's really what we're about in our whole organization. And we have a vision for our organization. We are a vision-led organization, as you are a vision-led center, and as I trust your life is vision-led. And if by some chance it is not, I would strongly recommend that you sign up for some of these classes and take them and find that spark, that light, that idea, that thing that draws and attracts you, not pushes you, but pulls you towards its magnificence that is the truth of who your authentic, actualized being really is. Like I say, our vision for Centers for Spiritual Living, which is the organization of which Seaside sits within, that vision is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence and create a world that works for all. And that is a huge vision, and it's not a goal, it's a vision. And there's a difference between a goal and a vision. A goal is something definable that we can put out in front of us and that we know how we're going to achieve it. You can sit down and you can have a goal to create and bring something into your being and into your life, and you lay it before you and you have a recipe as to how you're going to achieve that. And then if you do each of the steps, you arrive at the end inevitably. A vision, though, is outside the realm of our consciousness. It is something that resides within the divinity and the divine mind of God, which is our mind, and probably sits as a resonant idea back of us. And what we do is we bring it forward in our mind's eye and we put it before us, and we're not sure what the recipe is to achieve it, but we simply know that if we continue on the pathway to get there, we must inevitably arrive at that location, that time, and that thing. So when people say to me, awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence is awful lofty, or create a work for all, a world that works for all, how do you do that? I don't know. And I don't need to know. But I do need to know that that is a vision and that is an intention, that is a possibility, and that as our teaching states, if I set my goal with indomitable will, if I set my intention in that area, and I spend my energy moving in that direction, it must come to pass. I don't know how, and I don't need to know. And the minute that I start telling people how it's going to come to pass, watch out. Or the minute somebody else does, because what they're speaking from is their perception of the world around them, their subjectivity, their idea, their experience being brought into world and being brought into reality. But a vision is outside of that. But it works the same way as a goal does. With a goal, it's really basic. You know, I had a goal to come here to San Diego. So my goal was to book an airline ticket, to get up in the morning, to go to the airport, get on a plane, fly in that plane down to Seattle, change planes, get on another plane, fly to San Diego, get off, rent a car, and drive over here. That was a recipe that I knew how to do. I know how to get to San Diego. And you know what was created for me in that process was the same thing that gets created when you create a vision and that takes you there. Is laid out before me was all of the things that were required and necessary that I had to bring together and create. But I didn't because Spirit had already created them. So when I went to the airport was there. I didn't have to put it together in my mind's eye. Spirit created it. When I got on board the plane and flew down to Seattle, the airplane was there. The passengers were there. I didn't have to sit down and figure out how to put all the molecules together to make these things happen. They were already in place. When I changed planes, the same thing happened in the next trip. And when I got there and rented a car and drove over here, I didn't have to create the sunshine, the palm trees, the street, the road, the white line. I didn't have to create the freeway. It all unfolded before me because it was based on the faith and the trust and the knowledge and the knowing that I knew how to get here, and it was created. The same thing with our vision that we set in mind, whether it be our independent individual vision, whether it be the vision of this center in this church, or whether it be the vision of the large organization, or whether it be the vision of the world. When we set that vision and we lay it out in front of us and we put it there, what happens to us is that everything that is necessary, everything that is required is created for us on being able to find our way there to bring it into manifestation and bring it into creation. Everything that needs to be changed, every corner that needs to be put in, every white stripe on the road is automatically created and brought there, and it doesn't have to be done from a conscious level, it has to be done from a faithful level. To know that it must become manifest, it must become the truth. And as long as we maintain and hold that vision before us and lay it out before us, what happens is that we must arrive there at some point. So the greatest treatment I do every day of my life is for the patience and the faith and the understanding and the trust to know that that must become the reality. And what I travel around the world doing is ask other people to hold that vision in mind, to hold it out in front of them, and to know that it must happen if we keep our energy and our intention on it. That's the very principle and law that we and that the avatars of the world have been teaching since the very beginning of time. What I focus on and put my energy on expands and grows, draws and attracts and creates everything that is required to bring it into form. So what we do is we hold that in mind. But our problem is, and I won't speak it from your point of view because I know that you probably don't have the problem because you're so conscious and aware and avatars. But the problem I have is I don't always keep my eye on the vision. What happens is I get sidetracked all the time. Little things show up that distract me from the vision. And what happens to me is that I remember it and then I'm over on the side and I forget it. Then I remember it, then I'm over on the side and forget it. And a lot of us probably remember a time in our lives when we didn't even know that our mind was creating form. We didn't know that the power resided within us. And I speak for myself that prior to becoming a minister, what I was, or a practitioner even, what I was a farmer in Southern California in that other business venture we were talking about. And my life in those days was a life of unawareness, of unconsciousness. My life was imitation, as Emerson said. It was suicide. And what I was doing was I was following a pathway that had been laid out by my family. I was following a pathway that had been laid out by my teachers. I was following a pathway that was laid out by my society. And my desire and my goal in life was to create substance that would make my life more comfortable, never having a picture or a view that there was something greater that was in store. There was something more authentic to who I was that was being drawn and attracted and pulled in a direction. So when I discovered the teaching and began to wake up to the realization that I got to form it, what occurred for me was I suddenly realized and understood that if I kept my eye on the vision, that must become form. But if I continue to keep my eye on the pain and the displeasure and the depression and the conflict, then that grows and expands and becomes the form. And when I go around and travel around, I ask people, you know, how many people here would like to see a world that works for everyone? Everybody puts their hand up. I say, how many people think that children should starve to death? Nobody puts their hand up. Even though the master teacher Jesus said the poor in spirit will always be with us, the thing is that if you take a look at the 7.5 billion people on this planet, we all primarily want the same thing. What we want is we want to be able to live our lives in freedom. What we want is we want to be able to have enough food to eat. We want to be able to have a roof over our head. We want our family to be safe. We don't want to be subjected to violence, which is unnatural. We don't want those things, and yet somehow or other we still seem to have it, draw it, and attract it into experiences around the world that go on. A world that works for all would be above that. And it's a possibility, and it's something that can be done. And we're the ones to do it. We're the ones that are called forward. Years ago when I was farming in Southern California, it got extremely hot this time of year. Extremely hot. And so I had a motor home, and I would pack up my kids and my wife, and what we would do is we would go over here to the north coast a little bit to San Onofre. And we would park there, and we would walk down to the beach, and we would spend the weekends, as many as we could, at the beach, living in our motorhome and enjoying the cool of the San Diego area. And I remember to get down to that beach, what occurred was there was, where we parked, there was a funnel that went down to the beach. It went down that steep hill, and as it went down, it narrowed and narrowed and narrowed until it cut through a cliff, and there lay the beautiful Pacific waiting. But like every place in Southern California, what happened, that isn't artificial, what happened was all the stickers and the brambles and the bushes grew up around there. So it was like walking through a raspberry patch to get down there. You couldn't get down there without some form of a pathway, without feeling injured in the process. So what they did, the beautiful people from the parks, what they did was they built a paved path that went down. And it narrowed as it got down towards the bottom, and finally it poured itself out onto the beach. So here was this paved path through the brambles of life. And I remember once in a contemplation and a meditation thinking about it. And when I was 35 years old, when I was 32 years old, and I was running through life, what was happening was I kept stepping off that pathway. And when I stepped off the pathway and hit the brambles and the bushes, I would panic and I would start running through the brambles and bushes instead of stepping back onto the path. And my contemplation told me, it led me to believe, to imagine what it would be like, because headed towards that vision that we set in front of us, that a world that works for all, headed towards that of being awakened, headed towards that vision that you have for your own life, that vision of peace, that vision of health, that vision of wealth, that vision of joy, that vision of love that's laid out before you, the vision of this church that's laid out before you. In order to get there, it's like traveling that pathway blind. And all we know is we have this faith and this trust to know that that light exists, and we can see the light and the light only at the end of it. And so I imagine traveling that pathway as a blind person, walking along, and every time in the old days when I would step off, what would happen is I'd get hurt. And when I felt hurt, what I would do is I would panic. And when I panicked, I would run. And then I would run and run and run through the brambles, trying to find the pathway again where it felt comfortable, where it felt right, where it felt natural to be. So here's what I've learned to do. Here's what this teaching brings into being. Here's what the teaching of spirituality and truth, and it doesn't have to come from science of mind. Here's what the teaching that we are all inherently resonated with, that which we are drawn and attracted to, teaches. It teaches that there is a pathway, and that that pathway is smooth, and that that pathway is joyful to walk on. And what we need to learn as a society is we can choose that when we step off of it, instead of panicking, what we do is we take our spiritual practice and we take a breath and we step back onto the pathway. So even though we're blind and we walk down the path, when we step off, we stop, we remember, we step back on. We take a few more steps on the pathway and we step off, we remember, we step back on. And that the brambles that exist there are brambles that only are there in order to help us stay on the path and lead us back to the path. And that path leads to the vision that we put before us, whatever it happens to be. It lays out in front of us. But far too often in my life experience, what happens to me is I let the brambles take me away. And so I spend time and energy stuck in the pain rather than remembering that I can get back onto the path. I spend time and energy stuck in the emotional blocks, in the reasons that it can't happen, in all of my own mind, instead of stepping back onto the pathway, stepping back onto that which is smooth, that which is perfect, that which heads towards the vision. I know that this happens all the time. It happens in communities, it happens in the world around us. And the end result of that fear and that panic, the end result of running aimlessly through the brambles, are the things that we look at in the world, such as war. They are the things that we look at, such as conflict. They are the things that we look at, such as hatred. Because they are defensive mechanisms that we use to pretend that we're not being stung at the given time that we're actually being stung. And we forget and we start taking care of that issue instead of stepping back onto the pathway. Each and every one of us have to remember that that vision is all important. And here's how I choose to live my life, and this is what keeps me in that balanced state of mind that Reverend Catherine talked about, is that when that pathway is there, when I hold that light in mind, when I hold that vision in mind, that from the outside cannot disturb me from where I'm going. It doesn't matter to me what an organization says. It doesn't matter to me what the politics are. It doesn't matter to me what the outside looks like. What matters to me is that I maintain and know that it is there inevitably to take me to the end result, to the pathway of the joy, the life, and the love that's there. And I see it all the time in my own center in Kelowna, where I see even my volunteers. They'll come and they'll get involved in something, and they'll be working on something within the church, and somebody will say something, or someone will forget to mention them from the stage, or something will, namely me, and something will happen and something will occur, and the end result is they'll suddenly get upset, and what they'll say because they're upset is they'll say, "I'm out of here. I'm gone." And what they're doing, and what we do, what I do, is I give away the greatness of my own being, the greatness of my own life, the freedom of my own authentic self, in return for being right about a slight that I might see, or something that is uncomfortable for me to experience. And then I run away from it, and then I get off the path and I'm lost. I tell the story of my wife and I have been together for 39 years, and when we first started the ministry, I remember we had this little squabble. It's the only time. Is my nose growing? So we had this fight, and I got all mad, and I got all huffy, and I got all upset, and so I left the house, and I went out, and I got into my car, and I started my car up, and I drove away. And I was just, oh, that's it, forget it. And I don't remember what the exact issue was, but it was something really, really minor and slight. It was like the lid on a toothpaste tube, not putting it back on. Am I the only one? Okay, so it was something like that. And so, it was that minor. And as I'm driving down the street, driving away, Dr. Holmes says that all treatment is clear thinking, prayer. So I'm driving down the street, and I'm thinking clearer. And the clarity starts coming to me. Are you leaving your wife, your life, your children, your home, your soulmate, the people you love, the style that you're accustomed to living in, because of a toothpaste tube? And the answer was yes. So I turned around and I went home. And I said, I'm sorry, this is really silly that I would do this. And yet, isn't that the human nature and the human condition That sometimes what we're prepared to do is we're prepared to let go of everything. For what? For what? We have the opportunity to be able to create and manifest and bring into being in our lifetime, in our experience, now, a world that works for all. We have the ability to transform the world as we know it and to bring it into a perfection that moves and has its being. We have the ability to awaken to our own being, our own gifts, our own goodness, to sit into the mosaic that we were born to be. We have the ability to be free, and we give it away. Why? We give it away because we're frightened of this, or this upset us over here, or we don't want to look at that. And the quickest way to avoid that, the quickest way to fight your way through that, the quickest way to rise above that, is to remember what your vision is. And allow that vision to be the priority in your life. That no thing stands between me and that. No squabble, no prickle, no bramble makes me panic, because I lay before me a knowledge and a knowing with an absolute understanding that that must become the form of this world and this experience, and I apply my faith to it completely. And the end result is it must be so. And everything that needs to be will be attracted, like the paved road, the airport, the airplane, the white line, the drivers. Everything must be put before me to allow it to come into fruition and to come into my experience and manifestation of my life. And that's what Dr. Holmes taught. That's what we know to be the truth. That's what all the avatars have shared and talked throughout the ages. It is done unto you as you believe. So you lay your belief out there, which is something bigger than your goal. It's something outside of yourself, because your goal can only be as big as the experience you've had up until now. So you allow that fruit to be born, and you put it out there, and you head towards it. And no matter what happens, no matter what occurs, no matter what bramble, bush, sticker, toothpaste tube, or uncommonly uncomfortable relationship you have, you know that it must come to fruition. And nothing, you allow nothing to stand between you and it. I do not allow Centers for Spiritual Living to stand before it. I do not allow my church to stand before it. I do not allow my wife and my children to stand before it. A world that works for all will be created as long as I can maintain my vision and hold it and know that it must come to form. And if this is not so, then I am in the wrong teaching. This is what we teach. Set your mind and move in the direction, and it must be made. And so we lay that before us, that there's 250,000 to 500,000 of us that belong to CSL, that are connected to it. That there is an additional in the New Thought family, probably 2.5 million people that are there. The cultural creatives are another 7 million people in North America alone. We are out to reach a collective consciousness, to shift the consciousness of the world, to maintain that vision. We're traveling around right now, and I'm meeting with the Pentecostals, I'm meeting with evangelists, I'm meeting with Baptists, I'm meeting with Catholics, and I'm saying, listen, what we need to do is we need to get a common vision, not a common road post as to how we get there. I can honor the way that you want to get there, but we can create what we want. And this is happening in our world right now. The time is right. We are ripe for it. We are ready for it. We're ready to move in the direction of the idealism and the truth that we were born to bring into fruition. And to do it, what we need to do is we need to come together as that consciousness and get rid of this silly nonsense that something's more important than that which is before us. And the minute that we strike that chord, the minute that we strike that key, we will flow. It will suddenly be that everything that is required comes in front of us. It will suddenly occur that we are drawn to where we need to go. We don't need to know how to do it. We don't need to try to work our linear brain to try to figure out how to make it work. There's no reason why I need to stop this war or bring this into fruition. I have to do what's put in front of me when it's there. And if it says feed people, we feed people. If it says love people, we love people. If it says take this stand, we take this stand. But we always move towards the light. And we never, 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 never give up. And we don't put it down. because we know it must be made manifest. That's what we teach, that's what we believe, that's what we embrace, and that's who we are. This is a reality. We're drawing together the tribes of like-minded people. We're bringing them together and saying, why do we have a world that appears to be unjust and not work? Why don't we get together and make one that does work? And we're drawing people, and I don't care whether they are Jews or whether they are Christians or whether they are Buddhists or whether they are Muslims. We draw them together and we lay it out before them and we say, this is what we want to create. Will you join us? And before we move to that, though, we need to create the platform here. Will you join us? That is the question. Are you prepared to set aside the prickles and the brambles and the pain and the hurt and maintain an idea and an ideal that lays before you that must bring goodness and greatness into the world into form? And as a movement and as a group and as an organization, we will build that foundation and that structure, and we are just sailing through this. So will you join us? Yes. Does it make sense? Yes. And so it is. Bless you.
Let's please keep the applause going for Mr. Andrew Pettit.
A total eclipse has just begun. We've blocked out the sun. Can't believe this is what we've come to. Or did he get left behind the day that you decided that you would outshine his light? God is headlining this show. To introduce him is what I'm here for. So without further delay, it's time to take to the stage. Then I move out the way, so they only see you that's inside of me. Don't let me block the view, that's not what I wanna do. I gotta be see-through, make sure they see you, make me invisible. The crowd applauds and now you're on. They start to play your song, but did he even come along? Or did he get left behind the day that you decided you would outshine his light? God is headlining this show. To introduce him is what I'm here for. So without further delay, it's time to take to the stage. Then I move out the way, so they only see you that's inside of me. Don't let me block the view, that's not what I wanna do. I gotta be see-through, make sure they see you, make me invisible. Then I move out the way, so they only see you that's inside of me. Don't let me block the view, that's not what I want to do. I gotta be see-through, make sure they see you, make me invisible. Make me invisible. Make me invisible.
beautiful, beautiful. And so this is the time of our service when we have the opportunity to share our gift. So I'll invite our ushers to come forward. And it is with great gratitude that we thank this most generous spiritual community here in support of this divine ministry. And so I'll invite you to take your offering and we'll put it on our hearts today and infuse it with that divine gift that each of us is. Coming together in consciousness, simply pausing for a moment to bless this offering, knowing that it moves forth out into this spiritual community and out into this community and into the world to allow for the transformation to happen, knowing that that divine truth of flow and movement and freedom moves forth through this teaching, through all these ministries, through all that happens here at Seaside and out into the world, allowing for God to be revealed so fully. And so it is with a grateful heart that I bless this offering. I give thanks for it and simply celebrate it, allowing it to be, and so it is. Please join me in saying our affirmation of giving. Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. I just want to acknowledge them. That's Lynn, Tom, Bob, and Pat from the band. We love them. We love the boys in the band. And our board member, Robin Mitchell, here. So as we come together here, we simply bless this offering and give great thanks for it, knowing that it moves forth on the flow of the divine, allowing for each of us to receive and to give and to participate in that everlasting flow, knowing that this offering goes out to bless and support and expand this divine light that is the mind of Spirit expressing as this spiritual community. And so with a grateful heart, I bless it, I give thanks for it, and allow it to be. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon. Need I say more? Thank you. Thank you. Andrew Pettit. I like the way he said it. Send a brother to school, buy a CD. Reverend Fran, thank you so much for your gifts and your support. Thank you. And Carl, he's not here, but thank you, Carl, for leading us. So let's see, we've got Matthew on sound, Marv on images, and we've got Tim Griffin, who is heading up our live stream. Thanks so much for all you do to support and all the volunteers here at Seaside. So let's see, there's a lot going on. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. You know, we're coming to the end of summer here, so next week is a great celebration on Sunday. Dr. Christian's going to be back from his time off, and we've got Jamie Lula in the house. Jamie Lula concert. It's a great way to celebrate Labor Day. And let's see, classes are starting in a couple weeks. Come see me. And our 25th anniversary is coming up. And so, like they said, we're coming to the end of the time where we're able to participate in the commemorative book. If you'd like to send a wish or a prayer or a blessing to Seaside, buy a little ad and talk about how it has transformed your life, please visit the ladies in the back. And if you don't have your tickets, you better get them quick. I hear they're running out. It's going to be a fabulous party. And so please join us and celebrate. Whether you've been here for 1 minute or for 25 years, you're part of the family, and it's a great space here at Seaside. It's a great family, and so come and celebrate with us. And so also, I want to mention that today is our wall of prayer. So I'm going to invite any of our religious science practitioners to come forward and line up here in front. These are those who take our prayer requests and support our community in prayer every day. So even if you don't think you are, you're being prayed for. They're always available after service for treatments and for prayers. And we never want you to leave here. If there's something going on in your life, if there's something that we're so up and happy all the time because we know the joy of life is the truth of it, but we also know the experience might be a little bit different sometimes. And so if you're in the middle of something, please see one of these people after a service. We never want you to leave with anything heavy on your heart. But today what we're going to do is we're going to do our prayer, and then we'll sing out, and then these lovely practitioners will be here available for a quick treatment after for you. And so we'll invite you to come forward and get a prayer at the end of service. And so with that, I'm going to invite Dr. Ken to come forward and pray us out.
Thank you. And thank you, practitioners, for all the work you do. It's wonderful you carry this consciousness. I'm going to do this treatment from the first person. Take these words as your own if you choose. I believe in God and absolutely nothing else. I recognize and know that I'm unified with this power, with this spirit, with this consciousness, with this intelligence. And I know that to be the truth for each and every person here. I speak my word knowing that that vision that lays before us is already manifest, already created, and already done. And I know that that higher power draws us in perfection to where it is that we need to do, where it is we need to go, what it is that we need to do. I recognize, I accept, and know that as it pulls us towards it, anything that is unlike it is dissolved and dissipated and disappears from our experience, leaving behind only the light, the love, the joy, the beauty, and the peace that is the truth of who we are. Accepting this as the unconditional truth, I give grateful thanks. This is already so. I give grateful thanks for you. I give grateful thanks for our centers. I give grateful thanks for all who carry and aid in the direction of this vision. Accepting this, I simply surrender it back into the universal mind, which is your mind, my mind, and all mind. And I live from it, knowing that it's already so, and so it is.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I did not know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say if you are discouraged and trying to make it through just one more day, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. And this is what we have to say. Come on! I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. You know there's no more struggle, no more strife. With my see the line, I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Now, Seaside, y'all say. You know there's no more struggle, no more strife. For sake I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for
And our affirmation for the week together, I keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. One more time. I keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love, I'm living in peace, I'm living my life for what I believe, through joys and through fear. In this world I walk, God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. 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 Amen, amen, hallelujah.
Please join us for prayer up front.
Thank